Hello, this is Dr. Rugenstein, and that was an Amtrak train going to New York City on Papscanee Island. And we're going to be exploring a few different things today. One of them is Papscanee Island and the old railroad that came through, and there's a lot of history right here. It's now Mohican territory. Stockbridge Muncie band, and let me turn this around here. And where we're walking here, what you're looking at here, is Papscanee Creek. And we are currently on Papscanee Island. Get a better look at the creek here. Not much of a creek. Most of what I'm going to be talking about today and that sort of thing comes from, that's the creek there. It comes from a paper written by Warren Broderick. And Warren and I are, well, I haven't seen him in 20 years, so it's not like we're friends or anything like that. An acquaintance at the very most. He's been to my home about 20 years ago, but he wrote a lot of information about, I think he's either the chief archivist or senior archivist with New York State. So let me turn this around once again and talk a little bit about the island itself. It's an alluvial island, and it's separated from the mainland by Papscanee Creek, and which is this, the north end, which we'll walk to eventually, was filled in the 19th and 20th century for industry and railroads, things of that nature. The island itself is fairly low and flat, about 4 miles long, about a half a mile wide. Today it's more like a peninsula, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. But originally, it was owned by the Mohicans. And today it's the Stockbridge Muncie band. And it was full of farms and things of that nature. And it was named after a great sachem, Papscanee. And it was all farmland. So we're going to go over the railroad tracks there, which are active, as you can tell. And you can see how this was all farmland. Not a lot of industry. So we'll pick up in a bit. Well, we have moved, as you can tell, and we're up by the active railroad tracks. I don't know if we'll see any more come by today or not while we're here. It's a possibility, of course. But you can see it says speed may exceed 80 miles an hour. So that is certainly interesting. But we'll just walk up here for a second. 2 rails. CSX, I believe. I believe this is all CSX. In any case, let's take a look at the island itself. This is part of this is Stotts Islands also. Over there, you got to remember that a lot of this was there you can see Papscanee Island Nature Preserve. A lot of this was filled in from dredging and things of that nature. So we really don't know exactly where some of the islands and things are. Someone else is coming here today. Should be interesting. So anyways, we're going to be taking a walk through here. No doubt there'll be other people enjoying this nature preserve. See what they have here for maps. Here you can see the Amtrak Railway. We're at this end up here. There is another end up here you can walk to. American Oil Road. As it says here, generationally inhabited from at least 2500 BC through European contact in the 17th century. I've already talked about some of that. I'll pause here a little bit. No fires, no camping, no hunting. Drone and metal detector usage not permitted. Well, that's okay. Stockbridge Munsee Band and Mohican Indians, federally recognized sovereign tribal nation. And it's situated today on the reservation land in Wisconsin. Although there's a Stockbridge has a monument as such. And you can see the darker green is the Stockbridge Munsee community land. The rest of it is New York State land, I guess. In any case, we are going to be walking down through here and observing. Now, some of this trail, I think, is actually part of a railroad. We will see, I think. See, the thing is that Open Space Institute got a hold of it and kept it natural as much as they possibly could. This could be old railroad right here. We'll see. We'll go through here and see what we can do. In any case, in 1637, the descendants of Papscanee, the Sachem, deeded it to the Dutch. And in 1638, the northern end was settled by Cornelis Mason van Buren. And Van Buren name is relatively famous in our society. President. In any case, the rest of it was broken up into Dutch farms. And from there, this other end, 1696, was granted to an attorney Joachim Stotz. The family still owns it. There's a cemetery there I'd like to look at, because I'm interested in cemetery, things of that nature. 18th, 19th, 20th century railroad north end was commercialized. But as I said, the middle portion of the island was kept open, and in 2021 it was given back to the natives. Okay, there's a sign here. See what this has to say. Talks about the Stockbridge Trail of Tears. Let's see, according to our history, we came from north and west, settled along the rivers as well. As we went, came across the valley of ever-moving river, Mohican, Mohicaniac, people of the waters that are never still. Papscanee Island, named after the Sachem we talked about. Archaeologists and analysis provides evidence of Mohican occupation of these lands dating to approximately 6,000 years ago. So, we are on Native American territory. There's no doubt about that. Now, part of it is Cooper Island, but that's farther over. And we'll come across that also. I think this goes out by the water. We'll go this way first. Although there wasn't much built here, we do find that there was some construction along the river. And there's still some evidence of that. We'll see if we can find it. I have not been here in 20 years. The last time I came here was 2004, I believe. And we were geocaching, a sport that I enjoyed. Got a little too commercialized for me, and Well, a lot of people. When I started out, there was very few people doing it. And like any sport, people get to like it and keep going and things of that nature. But there was just so many people out at caches and things of that nature. And some areas were trampled, unfortunately. So it was, I just got out of it. I had caches out. I still have caches out. People are still finding them. They didn't have all these signs here before, I'll tell you that. Let's see what this one says. That's the Blue Trail. Artist rendition of the island. Talking about some of the history. This is the Hudson we're walking out to here. And there's another sign. I must say that it is interesting. The updated things here. Hello. Okay. This is the Hudson here. No camping. We hadn't planned on any camping. The dam there. So we'll continue back inside the park itself. These are some large blowdowns. Holy cow. I didn't even notice them until I came back this way. Pretty big. Two of them came down too. I don't know what they are. Hard to say. Well, we will continue this way. I guess I didn't remember the dam. Not a dam, though. What is that that's down there? In any case, we'll continue walking down through here, see what we can find. Naturally, it's all overgrown now. I'm not sure what the tide is here. The tide's 4 foot in Troy. I'm not sure how big the tide is here. This looks like all the world to be some sort of railroad berm over here next to me. The railroad came through here, and we will see evidence of that as we walk through here. But this is all Mohican territory. There are, I know of at least one individual, and I'm sure there are more from the Stockbridge Muncie band that live in the area. They didn't all go to Wisconsin. But when I was here 20 years ago, it was, I'm not sure what it was, some sort of state, Papscanee State Park, I think it was called, or State Preserve. Now, of course, it's fortunately been given back to the Mohicans. Okay, we could be coming over here more. Interesting. Very interesting. This could be, we could have strayed on to what was known as Cooper's Island in here. I'm kind of guessing because it's wet over there and the Cooper Creek came through and divided things. We'll continue down this way. So far, all we have found are 3 cars. So there's relatively few people here. And these could be relics of farms. That kind of looks like a basement. But there were farms in here. And so one would suspect that there's going to be some remnants of that, since the open space came in and didn't allow any development. Which is fortunate, because let me tell you, this would be prime land for them to bulldoze and redevelop. They did the northern end, let's face it. And we'll get up that way eventually. It must be that the tide is up, because there wasn't much of a shoreline. And I remember quite a shoreline at one point. Well, the trail goes that way, but there is something that goes this way. And I don't know. Well, we've had a lot of rain yesterday, and frankly tomorrow it's supposed to snow. Heavens. This is somewhat off trail, and I find they're trying to maneuver people away from here for some reason. But I'm not the only person that's come through here. It's a well-worn path, no doubt about that. And flat. Well, there's some big trees down in here. Holy camoles. I don't know if I see. There were ruins along the river at one point that I did remember seeing long, long ago. You can see where the trail used to go quite easily. And I think I'm going to go this way. I think. Oh, that is a long stretch. Oh my goodness. I got it. I got it. All right. This is more like what I remember in past days. And we're going to go over here. See, this is different here. There was a building here or something at one point. Well, I am going to stop filming for a moment and figure out exactly where I am. Oh, there's a train coming back through. Aha. I saw the rail fan there and I kind of wondered. Here's a tire. A rather large tire. Let me set everything down here for a second and I'll get back. Well, check my maps and I'm kind of where I thought I would be. But we're going to get back out to that blue trail over there. There was something here though. You can see there's milled lumber, and I don't know if that's rough cut or not. Some metal there. Certainly as we walk over this way, you can see cut stones. So there was a building. They did have buildings on the island. I mean, certainly through different time periods. I don't know what that is. I don't remember that there before, but that means nothing. Not much here. The tide's up. There's no doubt about that. Many people don't realize that the Hudson River from, I think it's Watervliet on, is actually a fjord of sorts. Some of this is just washed up here, obviously. But this is gravel. Something was built here at one time or another. What? I have no idea. But that looks like it's part of a boat. Well, we'll head back out of here and continue up the trail, get back on the trail. This is an interesting spot. I can't get over the number of blowdowns. Unbelievable. It just seems to me something was built here that was fairly substantial at one time. Obviously there's roads into here and things of that nature. This is kind of wet. That's a big blowdown over there too. Holy cow. Have I strayed back onto the trail? I don't think so. I think it's over here. Yeah, it is. Oops. Forever thankful that I use a walking stick. In my case, I have a cane that I use. Yes, here's the trail right here. People have been back here. You can see that. Oh, I say that. Storms, things of that nature, may very well bring people this way. Or garbage this way. Although we're fairly high in. If you're thinking about my funky sunglasses, I ordered another pair. The yellow ones work fine, but I needed something that was a little darker at times, and so I ordered another pair of those, but just in a different color, and they sent me the wrong size. So I decided that overall I would merely modify them. I thought that would be a lot slippier than it was. Alright. For now I'm back on the approved trail. There's the yellow trail that we walked in on, partially. Oh, we will continue on the blue trail. since we'll probably come back on the yellow, which would make sense. Sycamore. Huh. See this? Oops. All right. Well, naturally, these farmers had barns that were out here. So one wonders if some of the hills are heaps of dirt have something to do with settlements, barns, things of that nature. Well, if I'd known this was where the trail was, I would have just walked over here, because there's a trail coming up here. Alrighty. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. What's interesting to me are these berms here. I don't think they're natural. The island's typically flat, as they say, and you saw part of it there. Oh, another one coming through. That man we saw there in the car is a rail fan. I can appreciate that. I like railroads too. Part of the thing we're looking at for here is some remnants of the railroad that came through. What I'm kind of looking for now is more of the buildings that I see on maps along the old maps, 1950s. And obviously, before that, there were farmers. They lived in houses. So one wonders if they lived near the water, possibly. This is certainly overgrown in here. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if I remember. 20 years is a long time. And I must admit, there are things I would do 20 years ago that I would not do now. Uh-huh. See, now this is a flat piece of area. Could have been for a barn. I don't know. But there's a lot of this could be. See, some of it just looks too square to me. Like this looks like an entrance, and that looks like a square. A house? No, I don't think so. But certainly could have been a barn. Something living there. This is all sand too, so hard to say. Hard to say. Taking us away from the water. That's not exactly what I was hoping to do. But that's rather remarkable. It's so flat. You'd say, well, it's swampy over there. This is dry here. that's person or animal. We'll keep working over here and see. It's nice that in the 2020s it was turned back to the natives. It's probably it's a victory, although sadly probably not the type they would have liked overall, but it's one of those things that's better than nothing. See, this was I don't know, but you can see that that's kind of a trail down through there. That's flat. And unless it was from some other process, it looks like it was used for farming. Now this here, which I think is the yellow trail, I believe was an old railroad bed for the New York Central Railroad. Although I obviously could be very wrong. Memory tells me that I did come by some. Oh, here's a doggy. There's a doggy. Hi there. Hi. Hi. Yeah, you're a good doggy. Yes, you are. He doesn't know what to do.
She really loves people.
Oh, good. Yeah. Hi there. Have a nice day.
You too.
It is a nice place to be able to walk a dog off leash. Unfortunately, our dog, he's not one to do that. Feeling, he's a great dog. He is just, wow, sometimes. This is interesting here. This has changed somehow. I'm not quite sure. See, this is more, I don't remember it like this at all. Again, 20 years ago. A lot changes. A lot changes. Well, there's the active rail right there. That's interesting. But I want to go back into there, which I will. I will find a way to get back in there. But we'll walk down this. That is an active rail, 80 miles an hour. Probably nothing coming through anymore right now, because if I remember right, the next one through is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we just saw, well, 10 o'clock or 10:50 or whatever it is that went through. Yep, I want to get back in there. I don't remember walking this close to the railroad when I came through the last time. But this trail might not have been here 20 years ago. Oh, it's the White Trail. Aha. Well, interesting. We've come upon another trail. And this is the active railroad here. There's a, yeah, this is active here. I don't know if anything's going to be coming. It's all red lights down there. Although those yellow, hard to say. Hard to say. There's a gate there. Well, we'll continue on. Interesting. Well, we'll continue. This is a white trail, which I didn't know I was going to stray onto, but I did. So no, I don't think this was the old railroad. It's parallel to this, and it's quite a ways over the old railroad. We'll continue on here, because this is all new to me. This is not something I've been to before. What a bunch of tangles. Well, my original idea was to just walk in, walk along the road, the river, cross back over, and ta-da, I'd be up and back. Because although the island was about 4 miles long, it's only about 2 miles, not quite 2 miles, that is undeveloped. The rest is all tank farms and things of that nature, and industry. I don't remember, well, this trail wasn't here. If it was not in this nice of shape. I think when I came through here, we were geocaching, and we had about, 12 people. I think it was like 12 people. And we went all over. I think there was 8 or 9 caches in here, and I actually think I got a first to find on one of them. Slight bit of help, but I did find it first. And then we walked around. It was a heyday of geocaching. There was a person there. It was Rusty Old Junk was his handle, and at one point he had gotten every cache within 10 miles of Albany. That is not possible. Well, it'd be possible, but it would take you a long time. And some of the people I started off with have 5,000-10,000 caches they've gotten. I think I hovered around 100 and something of that nature. But it was fun. You know, I was 20 years younger, running around more. Well, we're coming up to a junction here. And let's see what we do. Well, there's the white trail that way. Interesting. And that goes back down by the water. And I'm going to go down this way and see what is down here. Now this could be to that, I don't know what you'd call it, warning area? It's on the water. That thing I thought at first was a dam, and I knew it couldn't be a dam. There's no dams on the Hudson like that. Well, not here. But, I remember there was a open area, and there was a huge tree. I don't remember if there was a cache in it or not, but there was a huge tree. Well, we're walking back towards the water, and some other road going that way. Huh. I don't know if that's just a place they're dumping stuff. It looks like a place they're just dumping stuff. All this here. Interesting. Probably, see, I don't remember this thing here. It's jutting out into the water when I was here the last time. I don't know if that's exactly where we're going, but we're going to go back this way and see if it is. This is a regular road, so it's was used a great deal somewhere along the line. Looks like deer trails in there. Ah, we're approaching this thing from the other end, the other side. This must be the road into it. It must be some sort of a warning, because it's on shore. Maybe it means that there's, you know, something that could strike, hit, I don't know. This is all sandy here. I mean, it is alluvial, so it's going to be that way. Well, interesting. Huh. Some things washed up here. To be honest with you, I don't remember this when I was here last time, but this is quite old. Not sure why it's here. It must just, it must mark the channel. That would make sense. Which means from here over to those buoys over there are pretty deep. And I think the reason I can't find some of the stuff I saw before is merely because it's high tide. One of them things. I should say one of those things. Take a look over here. There has been a lot of water washed through here. A lot of water. This must be, maybe it's going down. Maybe the tide's going down. It could be going out. This could be all from the tides. Although there's something metal. So as I said, there was stuff built out here along the river. I'm just going to get up here and walk over here a second. Now we were over there before. I'm looking this way. And geez, there's nothing along here. Yeah, this must mark a channel because there's another one out there on a rock. And it looks like the tide is going down from what I can see. But it would still be many hours before it would be down low enough so you could see some more. The water does rush around here though, and that's interesting. That piece of metal there. Oh my. That's a stone. Well, I'm going to turn this off until we get back to the trail and then pick up from there. What is this? Yeah, I could have just been floated in though. It's a piece of, it's a rough cut, 2x6, but who knows if it's from here or where. All right, I'm going to pause right now. Well, we're back here. We were way down there. We walked back up this way. And we're going to continue down this white trail. Wow. That is a widowmaker waiting. Any case, we'll go down through this trail. I did not at first think I was going to be going through all this, but I am. Some of this along the side here, I don't know about these. I don't know about these berms. I don't know. Because the old maps don't show a bunch of railroads in here or anything like that. There was a New York Central line, and then what's the current Amtrak, CSX, whatever line that's still active. New York Central one, and that was Hudson Valley Railroad, I think, at one point. Not sure. Again, always check out the description. Always. But the other thing I was going to say is that part of the reason some of these islands are sort of like the Cooper Island and Papscanee and Stotts Island are all sort of melded together now is because of dredging of the Hudson River when it was necessary. We are continuing down this trail. This is one of those things. Do I keep walking and just show you this endless trail that is there and me babbling on, or do I shut it off for a few minutes and just turn it back on when I see something? I think I'm going to turn it back on when I see something. Well, we've come to one of those spots again. At least I think so. There is the white trail that goes that way, and then there's a trail that goes that way. I don't know what that is over there. Railroad maybe? No, I don't know. We're getting up towards, understand the north end is all commercialized. So we're not, oh, well, this is unusual. Holy cow. There is a guy in a dump truck. Huh. Well, we know where some of those, we know where some of that shit's going, where some of that stuff is coming from. They're just dumping it back here. Isn't that fascinating? A preserve. It's a preserve. Usually when you preserve something, interesting. Well, I wonder what the Native Americans think about it. You know, if I stray into, I just was realizing where I was holding that into the woods. We've been walking down this little trail here. I wonder if I say Indians, understand my wife's a Mohawk. But I wonder if they know that's going on here, because that was down a trail. And they looked like the last person they wanted to be seen by is me holding a camera. Interesting. I know this end is industrialized, but I just didn't think I'd see a dump truck, pardon me, driving down the trail, really. Well, they're backing up to dump something. The other thing I will say is that the first time I came through here, through geocaching, as I said, and we were just following GPS coordinates. We weren't necessarily following trails. We're on the green trail. Now, some may wonder, are you just wandering around in here without a map, relying on some sort of faded memory? Do you actually know where you are? Well, I am wandering around, not necessarily without a map. Well, I have a phone that has a map on it, so it's not like I could get lost. But it's hard to get lost when you're kind of boxed in to a rectangle. On one side, I have the river. On the other side, I have railroad tracks. On the north end, I've got fences that won't allow people into their tank farms and things of that nature. We'll go that way when we leave. But we will come down here to the water. Well, there's a picnic table here. What do you know? Well, it certainly wasn't here before. Like I said, 20 years. Lots of changes. Lots of changes. That goes down along the water, I suppose. There's a picnic table here. Here's more of that concrete embankment. Interesting. It must have been here, I just don't remember it. Or maybe I don't know. There is a dam over there. Huh. Well, it looks like a dam. Maybe not. I don't remember a dam here. I don't remember any dams here. I've been all the way on this river. No, there's no dam there. That is a tank farm at the Port of Albany. That's what that is over there. Over there. That's a tank farm. That's the Port of Albany. That's what this is all about here. STP. Huh. That's interesting. I am going to stop here for a moment, and I'll pick back up, but I want to check my bearings. And this is a good spot to do it. Well, I've got my bearings. I'm not as far up the island as I thought I was, I just heard that dump truck finished dumping their load. That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. But in any case, we're just over there by that picnic table. I'm going down this way. This isn't a trail as such. Well, it's a trail, but it's not a marked trail. And but part of this is exploratory. I bet you the natives would be shocked to see what, well, let me put it this way. I bet you the natives from the time period that this island they lived on would be shocked. There's still natives around here. They know what it looks like. They've come back. It's not like, you know, some mystic sort of thing. But now some of the information I talked about came from Warren Broderick. And it must be some sort of protection from the motors, or you know, the propellers, turbulence, that sort of thing. In any case, Warren Broderick, yeah, he wrote a paper about this area, about a murder that was here, a supposed murder, things of that nature. That will be referenced in the description, so that you can find that article. He's written a lot of articles. That's just the one I happen to be using today. These look like very old trails that are no longer in use officially. Yeah, this is what I suspected. The tide is up. And I can prove that to you because there's a trail that goes right down through here. It goes over there somewhere, I bet. And it ends here. Why? Well, because it's flooded. That's interesting too. In my younger days, I would have gone out there and climbed on it, but no longer. No longer. So I'm curious as to how much of this right in here is from dredging. It looks like it's hillier over there along that side. That could be all from dredging. I am just guessing. I don't know. Some of these trees are pretty big. And they are, well, maple trees, I guess. There could be an oak in there. I see some oak leaves, but I don't know. Well, let us go this way, because this was a trail. See now? Jeez. What the hell is that? Oh, it's nothing. It's really nothing. It's just the way the that's processed lumber. No, it's just the way, I thought it was some sort of cave or hole or something, but no, it's just the way the vines had grown over it. I haven't heard that truck leave yet, which I find interesting. Really? Put your dog crap in a bag and leave it out here? Really? Just let your dog take a crap. It'll go away. Faster than the crap in a bag will go away. Now that's an orange trail and a green trail. Oh, that's interesting. Orange and green. Huh. We came in on a green trail. There must be another trail branching off here somewhere. Now I'm very interested to see what I can find. This is, I'm very curious about that dump truck. I just don't see them allowing a dump truck. And the thing is, if it had town or state markings, I'd say, you know. But this is a private truck. This didn't have any markings at all. And you have to wonder, what exactly was that? Well, at the moment, yes, I've done a circle. Well, now we're walking back out on this green trail, and typically I just shut it off and say, well, I'll pick it up when we get back to the other trail or whatever. But there's this dump truck, you see, and they have not left yet. And I think it's curious. Now, it could be totally innocent. They could have permits. They're just dumping clean fill. Sure. That's why the guys looked at me funny when I saw me standing there. Of course, I think it's gated, so if they need a key. They'd need a key, I think, to get back in here. So, I guess it just seems odd to me. And let's face it, just because you have a key does not mean you got it somehow the way you should. Graft and corruption is always out there. Let's face it. I had a friend of mine over in Europe ask me one time about, don't we have laws against corruption and things? And I said, well, we legalize it. We call it lobbying. That's how you can, you know. And now they've passed, they've said that unless you get something for your money or something of that, unless there's a strict quid pro quo, it's not bribery. Of course, 3 years down the road, you just happen to do something for somebody. So it makes it all sort of odd. So who knows what's going on here. I'm walking back out. I didn't think it was this far in that I walked. But it must have been. Yeah, here's the main trail here I'm walking up to. I hope you enjoy this type of thing. I know I do. I'm doing it. But I mean, looking at this area and some of the things we found so far, found some ruins. Certainly got an idea of what the land was like for farming and things of that nature. Now we're back up here to this Road. Let me turn it around here. There we go. Yeah. Well, I gotta be careful. I do not want to get hit. And they were driving pretty fast in here, so one doesn't know. Geez, is that the railroad right there? No, it can't be. Maybe we were this close to the railroad that's walking through here. I just don't remember it. And I haven't seen us cross the old railroad yet either. That's the railroad. Well, boy, I'll tell you. That is interesting. That railroad is right there. Again, 20 years. You know, what you think you remember and what you do remember. With 20 years of a span, is something. That looks like that was an old railroad berm over there. It could have been. That's the railroad there. Well, this certainly is a well-used road. There's no doubt about that. As I walk down here, I listen for a truck behind me in some spot where I can step off as quickly as I possibly could. Yeah, that tree line over there seems like it would be the old rail. I'm extremely worried about walking down this road knowing that there's a dump truck behind me somewhere that came cruising down through here pretty fast originally. Looks like the tank farm up there ahead of me. There's a rail over there. Well, let's see what we find as we get up here closer. We're coming up on the north end, I think. I think we're coming up on the north end. Again, you can see how it was good farmland. Right there is a perfect example. late 1630s on, it was in use. Hayfield. Someone's glove. Oh, right there. Someone's glove's right there. This is this is another one of those times I think I'm just going to stop filming until I find something interesting. Well, I'm going across this field here for the simple fact that this will probably meet over there, but I think, well, what I think and what's true is two different things. But you see those two big trees over there? They're split between something. What that is, I don't know. But then farther over is the tree farm. Tree farm. Tank farm. And I know the north one comes into the tank farm. It comes through the tank farm to the north entrance. Now this might go back over there, that road I was on. That's true. And I might have to walk all the way back across this field. But there's just something about this that makes me think there's a trail over here. Or something. They're using large tractors in here to hay. Because you see there's a road that goes through that you can't drive on. Well, you can drive on, but I can't drive on it. I'm not allowed. I don't know. Call it some form of intuition. And then again, maybe it's just foolhardiness, which is always a possibility. But I just haven't. Those two trees are separated, and there's old trees along here. There was a railroad that came through here. Now the new railroad is over that way. But the old railroad was away from it and went straight towards the oil tank farms, or tank farms. I don't know if it's oil or, I think it's mostly oil. Well, as I get closer, maybe not. This place has changed so much from what was in my mind. There's a tank farm entrance right there. You can see them right over there. That is the north end. Period. And there was a lot of, I do remember now, a big field. Maybe, I do remember that now. These vines that are growing all over these trees. I am not sure what type they are. Well, I don't think it was intuition. I think it was foolhardiness. That's what I think. Ah, looks like there's a train coming. Maybe, maybe not. There might have been an 11:50 train or something. I don't remember. Quite a ways over there, though. There's a white trail there. And well, I don't know. Maybe that was just a vehicle going down a road, a truck or something. Possible. I picked a good day to do this. There's no doubt about it. Shotgun shells in the ground here. Someone comes hunting here, there's no hunting. Isn't that interesting? But then there's people dumping stuff, and it's a nature preserve. Go figure. Well, no, I don't think that's a swamp over there. So no, I don't think so. Nope, nope, nope. Well, it kept me busy for a few minutes, thinking I had discovered something. I have discovered nothing, just a tree line. Perspective. It looks like they were next to each other. Well, they aren't. I'm going back over that way to get back on the white trail. So I'll pick up when I get over there. Well, I just walked across the field. I've been walking down this, and this looks like an old road. It's got that feel to it. Probably went just a road between fields or something of that nature. But this is, well, I don't know. This has, well, they're not cut stones, but they certainly look like something that might have been in a basement. And there's the tank farm over there. I am going to take advantage of this trail. I'm not back to the white trail yet, but that's where I'm heading. This looks more like a drainage ditch. Yes, it does. Let me get up higher ground here. And oh, there's some people over there walking. Oh, there's the trail. There's the dog. I didn't want to scare you. I didn't want to scare you walking out of the woods. I figured I'd just let you go by. I'm vlogging. Oh. So anyways, this must have been a drainage. And they're on the trail over there. So we know where the trail is. This reminds me a little bit more of what I remember, I think. Because I do remember coming in on the trail and there'd be fields on the other side. And then, yeah, there's the fence there. Let me get over here, back on the trail. Well, she keeps looking back, but it could be for a number of reasons. They have a dog. Well, we're back on the white trail. Well, we might as well walk over to the entrance on the north entrance, where it's close. I remember seeing, the last time I was here, I remember seeing old rails and things of that nature, but again, the memory fades. So I do remember when I came the last time, it did look sort of like this. The tank farms weren't that close at that time. They've expanded this way. It seemed to me there was more of a parking area up here than what I have seen on the maps that I've looked at of present day. This is more like I remember. There's the rail, the main rail line right there. But some of the other things I thought I remembered, I don't see. But then again, you never know. I haven't finished going to the other end. Aha! I spoke too soon. There is part of the old New York Central Railroad that came down through Papscanee Island. Yes, sir. I thought I was dreaming. I never thought I remember seeing this here. I thought seeing this here, but you know, as I said, memory fades. But here it is right here. There we go. This is part of the old New York Central Rail. I think it was Hudson Valley Rail at one point. This obviously was a little bridge. But there you go. Yes, I'm going to get up there. I'm going this way first. I was hoping I would find this, because this is just as much a part of the history of this place as anything. And see, where you see all these vines, this is why I've always said that where the vines are is where the it's been disturbed. Now that's big rail there. It goes that way. I'm not going to go through all that tussle there. But you can see, yeah, there's still Still some ties here. I'm going to see what I can do. See, like I say, when you see all this stuff like this here, see, everything else is pretty clear, but not this. Sort of surprised. Well, again, who knows why they do things the way they do. These are prickers, or whatever you want to call them. See that there? I am going to try to get down out of here. Looks like I have an avenue of escape this way. Okay, I'm going to shut this off until I get, like, out of here. Well, you can see my hands are all scratched up. Yeah, I just turned off my video to go see that. But you can see I'm on the other side. We were over there before. We're on the other side here now. You can see brickwork, probably from the bridges that were here. Trying to walk down that rail line is impossible. It's just all vines. I think it is just all vines. Let me see if I can circumnavigate this a little bit. Because here's the other bridge, if you want to think of it that way, over here. There's a tie there, rather large one. This is just unbelievable. All these pricker bushes. Raspberry vines. I don't know what they are, but man, they're all over the place here. And of course, everywhere I want to try to get to. All right, here's the other end of that. It just goes over a series of bridges, I guess. And I don't know. Let me see if I can. No, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Pieces of concrete. Yeah, look at the bushes. I love to follow the rail, but either side and all the way down it. Yeah, all the way down it. Let me go back this way. That's remarkable. And I'm so glad I persevered. And I'm so glad that my memory wasn't completely faulty. Although the stuff along the river could have been just covered up by the tide. I'm going this way. Because there's the rail line right there. And let me get back over there. I just don't want to go through all those prickers again. There's the new line right there, which we've witnessed at least one train go down. Amtrak. I guess that's not CSX. I guess it's just Amtrak. CSX is freight. So I misspoke. I don't know if I see anything else here. Okay, sorry about that. I have an allergy that seems to come out in the fall. And every once in a while, what do they call it? Post-nasal drip? Whatever. Ah, we're going to get one here. There we go. Coming out of New York City. Well, there is the rail right there. The old rail. And I'm going to take a look at that. Unfortunately, I have to tie my shoe. So I'm going to pause and get back to you in a few minutes. Shoe is tied. There you can see the rail right there. This part doesn't look quite as bad as the other one. And I do have to cross back over here somewhere and get back over to the trail. Ugh. So here you can see the rail goes that way. I don't know if there's somewhat of a trail this way or not. If there is, I'll follow it a little ways because there's the other trail right there. It's just right over there. This, I don't know. Let me see what I can do here. I think that's standard size, I think. Of course, you know, it was still in use in 1950. But since then, I'm not sure when it went out of use. Well, it's nice you can walk down part of this. Of course, the trail's right there, and people probably come up here and take a look at it frequently. I wouldn't want to come through here in shorts. Yeah, this comes right up to the trail. And this is what I remember when I first came here. I thought there was a large rock or something over there too, but it might have been just a large pile of wood that there was a cache hidden in it. But again, I don't remember per se. But yeah, here's a rail line right in. This is what I remember when I came through here the first time. No, I am going this way. So there we go, and it continued on. Let me get out of this. Ow. Wow. Everything I touch right now. There we go. Holy cow. That hurt. So anyways. Here's the rail line. It crossed right here and went over that way into industry. You can get sort of a look there. That's the white trail right there we're going to go back on. And see, this is new here. This is all different. This didn't used to be like this. It was open all the way to the gate. And now it's, that's the north entrance right there. That's the tank farm. No idea what that is down in there. There's the rail line here. And you can see it's switch right here. And you can see how it used to, I'm trying to get in here. You can see the rail lines here. And then it just goes off into that tank farm. Oh. Well, it was quite a walk, but we got here. Over there. The line goes that way, goes into the tank farm here. And there's the gate. They must have had a key to the gate. But you can see the rail line right there. You can see the ties. And it goes right into, well, we go over into the tank farm, continue into Rensselaer at one time. And you can see the rail line all through there. There is no possible way I'm going to walk that. No. Not through all of that. Not when we can walk right down the side of it here like this. Here's some more of it there. Must be another rail line went over farther. Gone now. But yeah, this wasn't here when I was first here. And I'm not gonna, well, yeah, let's take a look at the sign. Because I want to go back somewhat the quickest way possible. Stewart's gasoline. This isn't just oil, it's gas. This is the White Trail. Bird's Nest. Yeah, none of this was here 20 years ago. The rail line obviously went into there. There was a big, I thought it was a large erratic. So I could have been wrong. Signs. Let's see what the signs say. Being amazed now, no, haven over. Okay, not a problem. Not doing any of that. And now that we've walked along here, aha, the White Trail. Info desk. Yellow Trail. Okay, I want to take the White Trail all the way back. And then take the Red Trail to the left. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, let's go back. And must have been an old sign. I think, well, I think I'm going to walk back. We were on most of the White Trail other than just up this way, and it's just fields on both sides. So what I'm going to do is I think I am going to turn this off because unless something comes up or we see something different, I see something different, I'm not going to turn it on. Once we get back into the woods, maybe I'll turn it back on. But while we're walking through these fields here, it's pretty nondescript. There's not much there. And those two women and the dog are out there, so I'm sure I'll scare the Jesus out of them, I guess. There's the rail right there. And there's a rail stop. So this is where one of the rails stopped to. Wow, I'm glad I turned it back on just for this minute. The other one must have gone in there. But yeah, there's the end of the rail right there. The main rail must have gone on through. Or this was used. This was used in later times for industry or something. So with that, as I said, I'm going to turn it off until we see something interesting. Well, I've been walking for a while. We're on the White Trail. We came that way. We're up here by where the main rail line comes through, Amtrak. But I just took a note of all these locks. And what I think they need is another lock. Because you could just, depending on what you were driving, I guess. In any case, unless something spectacular happens, I'm going to just shut this back off and keep going. As I'm walking along here, I find another one of these signs, and I don't remember passing this one before. Maybe I have. No, I don't think so. The Mohicans lived on this land for several hundred years before their first contact with the Europeans in 1609, building their homes or wigwams near the rivers to be close to food, water, and transportation. Wigwams were circular and made of bent saplings covered with animal hides or bark. Mohicans also lived in long houses with roofs curved and covered with bark except for smoke homes, allowed the smoke from its pits to escape. Several families from the same clan might live in a long house, each family having its own section. Mohican women generally were in charge of the home, children, and gardens, while men traveled greater distances to hunt, fish, or serve as warriors. During the colonial period, the Mohicans were known to the Dutch and English as river Indians and to the French as loups, or wolves. So, again, we are reminded of the Native American connection to this island, which is important. And we'll continue on. Well, we've come back to our starting point. I hope you enjoyed the investigation. I hope you saw some things. I know I haven't been here, and I saw a lot of different things that I hadn't seen in a long time. Hope you enjoyed the railroad, a little bit of history, and please subscribe, ring the bell, and tell others. Have a good day.